I want to say thanks for joining me. And if you're going to be listening to this recording, it is welcome also. I want to say a little about myself. I have been looking at artificial intelligence for the last, I would say, 5 to 6 years. Prior to that, I just have a love for technology. I have a love for technology. I have a love for new and emerging technologies. And as I look around, I can see the landscape is changing. I want to say for the last few years, we have seen an upscale as it relates to technology advances. And I'm saying to you at this point in time, are you prepared? The road is not going to be easy, but you must learn how to navigate. Now, I would say that we have to understand how we're going to harness the power of AI and how we are going to use it to make our lives better, to enhance our lifestyle, and also to ensure that we have a better outcome as it relates to our life. We must understand the need to take on the role for AI. I want to say that in my opening statement, AI is not just for some, but it's for everyone. Because if you're not using AI, you're going to be left behind. Most recently, we realized that Sam departed from OpenAI and then returned within 72 hours. That sends shockwaves through the industry. When we look at what's happening, it sends a turmoil throughout the industry to a point that I wondered if things would have been okay. Microsoft were involved in conversations with him, and so far he's back. That's as far as we know. Back at OpenAI. But what caused that issue or that sort of saga is yet to be known. Yes, we're on our way. So I've started early. I've recorded a session for those who are missing a segment. And of course, I'm streaming on live on YouTube. Now, when we look at what's happening, we can say the US, as it relates to higher education, has not reached the full potential as it relates to AI. I am wondering if everything is going to be okay, because while the United States is in this position, I'm just wondering about other countries, especially in the Caribbean. Now, I want us to share, I want us to highlight, I want to ask some questions, and I also want us to really think about AI as we engage. And to start off, I want to ask a question. What exactly is AI? And I have created this for us to interact with it and to see what's happening. So I want to say welcome to the session. I see, yes, good evening. Good to see you, Ms. Reed. Mrs. Reed, happy to see you here. And I'm going to just go to other slide at this point in time. We'll have a one-to-one interaction here, but I'm continuing the PowerPoint as we go. Now, what is AI? And I want to play this recording. If you're hearing, please let me know. If not, then we will have to do an oral definition of what AI is.
For us to go further in the course, I would like to define artificial intelligence. Please listen carefully as you will be asked to answer a few questions at the end of the session. Artificial intelligence, often abbreviated as AI, is an exciting field of study and innovation focusing on creating machines and software that can think and learn like humans. It combines computer science, mathematics, and studying how we behave and assign tasks that typically require human performance. So we can say that AI is the creation of machines and software to act like humans. I hope you can remember. If not, feel free to replay the video.
I've just defined AI using an AI system I created using a software. I'm going to highlight that tonight because I want individuals to be aware of what's happening. If you do not know what's happening, then it's going to be very difficult to understand how you're going to navigate. So language models are a specific type of AI generated context, right? They are designed to understand, generate, and translate human language. So therefore, if I want to write a table, rather than having to set up a table in Microsoft, I can give a command for that to take place. And that command is necessary. So as you go and you build your command, you have to build certain parameters, right? The parameters are there to guide because you don't want people to abuse your system. How will AI transform your everyday life in the next decade? I want you really to think about this. And the next question, what are the ethical considerations that we should consider to guide deployment of AI? I know that is a powerful statement or question. Can AI enhance human creativity, problem solving, or will it replace these human skills? And of course, how should we prepare for the economic and social changes brought about by AI? I'm going to pause because I want you to take the mic, and you should be able to take the mic or type in the box so I can see what's happening at this point. I'm going to somewhat minimize this so I can see the chat to ensure that I can be able to follow at this point in time. So what are your thoughts regarding this? But you can't see the questions. So let me go put back the questions up so you can see the questions. You know what I was thinking when you were talking, Rosal? I thought about the hypocrisy as it relates to us as teachers. We use it so much, but when it comes down to the student, we're saying what? And I think that's a big frame, because I've seen where people say, oh, we can use AI to do this, but students, what about the plagiarism? What about that? And you're correct. Our greatest fear, however, is an independent and critical thinking that might be lost. And I think that is one of the things that we speak about, right? So I'm
Yes.
thinking about this now, and I'm saying to myself, if we design using certain elements of AI, then we can design in such a way that we can have assignments that are using AI, for example, ChatGPT, but preparing students for greater level of criticality, which is possible. But again, it will take time to design such an assignment. But you're correct, because what's happening is that my greatest fear, we are paused in a stage where we're thinking about assignments and there's such greater impact happening, right? The greater impact that I'm concerned about is that many institutions and countries will be stuck at one point as it relates to where should we go based on academic aspect, right? And when you're staying at that point and not thinking about revolutionizing your thoughts regarding assignments, because remember, we should have been doing assignments differently ever since educational theorists projected how people learn. But we consistently did the paper and, of course, assignments. So yes, you're correct. There are some concerns. And of course, it will transform our everyday lives. My last section of this presentation will highlight to you where we can go, because let me tell you, you have a set of tools at your fingertips that you can use if it continues that could revolutionize your life even further. Yes, we're thinking about assessment, and I want to show you the possibilities of creating content to a greater extent that we can understand. Just look at that photograph that you're seeing on your screen right now. That is AI generated. How was it AI generated? It was AI generated with a critical prompt that I created. I wanted a prompt that would reflect on the 1865 emancipation, people talking about meeting up after emancipation and just discussing the freedom and what the pathway would look like back then. And here I'm able to contextualize a picture that I would not be able to have found, or maybe have had to pay money for that. But notwithstanding, there are some ethical implications regarding how that picture was derived, which we have to eventually consider. I want to tell you my journey. I just didn't started looking at AI last year. I started looking at AI from 2016, about that time when I was asked about personalized learning and someone saying it was AI driven. And I went on a quest to find the truth. And I realized that the AI, what they were suggesting at that time, was never there. Now, if you look at this reference, that reference comes from an AI generated content that was produced using a software back then. And that was 2020. And what I realized that the software pulled in information just like what ChatGPT did, but it just did not make sense. What it put out, you could not use any of the words or sentences. However, let me say that what I found out was the references were all right. I could use the actual citations that it gave me to really write something nice on a subject. Now, fast forward back to 2022, last year, November, December, when we realized that AI came about. I want to say that many institutions after 1 year, and you're both in education, are still thinking about how can we move beyond that point of assessment. To be honest, I've moved beyond that point of assessment because I know it's possible to design an assignment to use AI and to allow students to have critical movement. However, when you're talking about examination bodies and so forth, they're going to take a longer time to move. So I do understand that. I put in a prompt in ChatGPT, and all I asked the prompt was to create the story of the boy who cried wolf within the context of Jamaica, but this time the boy is going to cry cow. So I allow that to take place, and I wanted to have pictures to conceptualize the story, and I went to Midjourney. Anyone here uses Midjourney? This section, I'll highlight a video I used in the session. You remember back in the days you really enjoyed stories. So here we go. Once upon a time, in a little district in Jamaica, there was a little boy named Mikey. And Mikey living at the hills with his mama and his daddy. In the district, there was a big cow, very dangerous one indeed, called Billy. Now, Mikey loved to play tricks on the people them in the district. He loved to see them jump and shout, but he never know that playing too much tricks could cause problem or trouble. Jump on one of the branches, then him hear a little crack, so him jump on another limb. Billy the cow was not able to reach him. By the time people realized what was happening, them start to run towards Mikey to help him. But Mikey was in the top of the tree by this time. Mikey looked down to see the whole district that looked upon him. All right. So there you have it. Everything, the content was AI generated with the exception of the voice. The accent might not be as within the context of Jamaica, but had to make it audible for others to understand. Do you see where I'm saying AI has moved from? And that was produced roughly in May, June. That was how it's done. And what I'm saying is how powerful you see this sort of technology in your teaching and learning, and of course, articulating from how would you use it in your classroom? Could you use this? All right. Okay, yes. So I'm happy you're listening. Yes, sure. So what I'm saying is we have so many things happening here. So we have used this video to showcase what's happening, but there's even greater movement as it relates to that. I want us to create a video tonight. And I want you to maybe suggest a topic. I'm not going to suggest a topic in the inbox area. I want you to suggest a topic that you want, or maybe I could just do it. This software allows you to create a video in just a few seconds, or I would say minutes. So start timing, everyone, and let's start a new video. All right, so we're going to start a new video. We want to use AI to generate the video. Let's use AI. And I want to use this one. So the topic for me is, I want this one. I think, let us use this one because I think it's an interesting one, right? So here we go. Let's see. Ethics in AI for lawyers. I think lawyers need to know about ethics, especially in today's event, you know, and then it will say audience. Let me see the audience to engage participants in understanding the value. Of course, we're going to deal with the Caribbean. Copy. Let's do that. And paste it there. And let me see if it wants any other information. We could give it any other information. I'm just showing you how quick this can be done. Audience. All right, let's generate the video because of time. All right, so it starts generating now. All right, so it generates everything and it's populating a slide. Each of these elements is a slide in itself. All right, so it gives an overview of what is happening. All right, so it's generating and it's going to generate for a few seconds or so. And in the meantime, it's generating. I might need to continue and come back. Your thoughts on that? Have you seen it being generated? What are your thoughts on such content being developed? Remember, you can now go back and edit. Any thoughts on that one? How could you use such a technology to enhance your work at the same time, but ensure that you go back and check? Any thoughts?
Right. So you are saying that in 5 seconds, my
Yes.
PowerPoint would be created?
That is what has happened here. And an audio would be done. All right, so I'm going to approve this and continue in editor. So there it is. You see? And I could, let us read this now. Let us listen a bit.
Welcome to our discussion on the importance of ethics in AI for lawyers. In this digital age, the intersection of law and technology is becoming increasingly crucial. As future law...
What are your thoughts on that? It has just created that presentation in video, and I'm going to generate it now.
Welcome to our discussion on the importance of ethics in AI for lawyers. In this digital age, the intersection of law and technology is becoming increasingly crucial. As future lawyers in the Caribbean, understanding the ethical implications of this intersection is not just a bonus, but a necessity. Artificial intelligence, or AI, is transforming every industry, including law. It's being used to predict legal outcomes, automate legal research, and even draft contracts. But as we embrace these advancements, we must also ask ourselves, are we upholding our ethical obligations? As lawyers, we have a responsibility to our clients, to the court, and to the society. These responsibilities extend to how we use AI. We must ensure that the use of AI in our practice does not compromise our commitment to confidentiality, integrity, and professional competence. AI systems are only as good as the data they're trained on. If the data is biased, the AI decisions will be biased too. This can lead to unfair outcomes, which is a clear violation of our ethical responsibility to provide equal representation to all. Moreover, as lawyers, we must also understand the workings of the AI tools we use. Without this understanding, we risk relying too heavily on AI, which can jeopardize our professional competence. In conclusion, while AI offers many benefits to the legal profession, it's our responsibility as lawyers to ensure that its use aligns with our ethical obligations. By doing so, we can harness the power of AI while upholding the highest standards of our profession. Thank you for joining in this important discussion.
I would not use that video just like that. I would continue to develop that context of the importance of lawyers by aligning those statements with their academic bar and what they need to know if I were to do something like that. I would just not leave it there. But for general stuff, I'm telling you, you have that. The only issue I have is that it comes at a cost, and countries have to be prepared to spend that money. All right, so let me move on because I want to showcase some more. Now, I've done so many presentations in October. In October, I've done roughly 7 presentations. One of the presentations that I happen to like the most is the one with AI and the church. I was invited to present at a church, which I found very rewarding. Now, I asked the members of the church, and we had roughly 40 individuals, regarding if it was possible to create a schedule with over 15 members, what they would do to create such a schedule of 15 members who need to attend as ushers to the car park, to the church, the offering, and so forth. And they say they would have to do a spreadsheet, they would have to organize this, and they would have to ensure that so many things were done. They would have to start off with a spreadsheet, find out who wanted that day off. And I told them, listen, you can do it in less than 10 seconds. All you have to do is to write a prompt. So we wrote a prompt. We wrote a prompt that's saying, using the information, assign 15 ushers to the church, and we gave the names of the 15 ushers. And then, of course, some must attend to the parking lot, 2 doors, and 3 general security. United States, you have to think about security. And overall, each of them must have 2 Sundays off within the period of 2 months. And of course, I said to them, I'll develop that one in less than 15 seconds, and they didn't believe. And this is what it produced. So therefore, if you are a teacher or a person doing scheduling, you can ask it to create a table, and then you can set up the prompt that, listen, Mary needs to cover that, so she can't be there, so she needs a day off on that time. You have to give it the command. Remember, you're using language to produce a command that you want to be done in a document. You understand? So the AI system is going to do that, but the information has to be clear. So it produces that information. Another example I gave took place in another session I had in October 27th, and that was in Nigeria. It was online. And I wanted to tell them about basic ideas on how they could use it, the potential for climate change, and just think about crop irrigation. And I put in a prompt to just suggest ways in which irrigation in Nigeria can be enhanced in the summer session. And of course, use research-based materials to provide information. And it gave them the full table: drip irrigation, of course, sprinkling irrigation, surface irrigation, and of course, it went on. And if I wanted to regenerate it, I could. I know nothing about agriculture. However, I was able to give an insight. Now, one of the most powerful things that I've seen, that I love to have pictures, right? And I know a lot of individuals like to have pictures. And I found it so difficult to get pictures that represent me, represent Caribbean people, represent people who I want to use to tell a story. And I found it very difficult. And one of the things I've done over the period of time is to really keep an amass of I would say, mid-journey prompts. All right. So I'm going to go back to this because I wanted to show you. And these are pictures, and I'm trying to download them to put in a file so I can share with everyone who wants them. You know, it will take me a time. I have a couple hundreds now. So these are just pictures that were created and paintings created based on a prompt. All right, there you have it. Just me typing in a word that was, I want a picture of a ship that was around in the 1860s and was used to transport material from England to the Caribbean. Notice I use the word material because it's flagging me whenever I use the word slave or slavery or anything of that sort. It's saying that it is not allowed to use that. And I have a problem with that because you're not going to forget the history that is already there by telling me I can't use that word. So I think we need to kind of address that and send feedback to the organizer. So there it is. Haitian Revolution, pictures of that. You can see it taking place, just giving you a few ideas. And Stephanie, this is Midjourney. Midjourney produces these wonderful pictures you can see, and I have a collection of hundreds of what's happening here. You know, that was a picture I wanted to highlight. My great-grandfather came from India into Jamaica in 1917. I wanted to highlight the context of India within a British architectural setting, and ships were on the sea at that point in time, and it gave me some ideas. I do see some modern buildings in the back, which I don't like, but I think it gave an idea of what I wanted, the story I wanted to tell. So you can see there's so many things that you can get from it. This is, again, the story regarding the emancipation of slaves in the United States in 1865, and they're having a conversation regarding that, people talking about the past and preparing for the future. That was the element, an old house. You know, it's typical. I'm sure we've seen houses like that in Jamaica at some point, and I just wanted to have an idea of that. So what I'm saying is, and I went to Jamaica recently, and this picture was inspired by what I saw. At every checkpoint, I saw soldiers and policemen on their mobile phones. So I kind of did that prompt specially designed for the Jamaican police force and soldiers, because everyone on their mobile phones not paying attention. I found that amusing. Yeah, but I have countless of prompts that we could use, and you can have an insight into them at some point. All right, so we're going to move on. Any feedback on that? And I wanted to really talk about the power. This is where the presentation itself lies. I want you to imagine what I just told you. And I want you to imagine now, for every little thing that you can do, you can create one application for yourself. You can create your own little chat GPT. And when you create that, that is for your subject area. And when you have that, you can train it to respond to questions and other issues as you want it to. So you spend time to fine tune that chat GPT. Chat GPT recently, in less than 2 weeks, launch building your own chat GPT. Since then, I can tell you that I've built roughly over 20. And at this point, I want to share that with you. So I'm happy that we might not have a lot of people, so we have time that we can really think about it. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen at this point, and I'm going to go into application because I want you to understand the power. Dr. Jowallah's Caribbean History can answer any question as it relates to history within the Caribbean. It does have a disclaimer though. And the question that it will be able to answer are connected possibly with the history curriculum within the high school. Now, the virtual professor assistant is a guide to enhance professors, to enhance their online class presence, and so forth. And of course, the math tutor is designed for, of course, K-12 mathematics problem. On this side, you can see everything that I've created. And of course, I want to take you on one. I'm going to take you on, for example, I could show you the math tutor. How can I solve this problem? It says, explain this math concept with an example. I need help with my mathematics homework. Can you draw an illustration for this math problem? So we'll do all of that once the child or individual puts the prompt in. History. So I want to look at maybe showing you history one that I created. So here is a AI learning designer, interactive assist for drafting AI enhanced educational assignments. So this one actually is able to design an assignment that will use artificial intelligence, and it will allow you to develop that in such a way that students, students are using it. So why not get them to use it and to critically evaluate what they're doing based on how the assignment is going to be deemed, right? So that's one. And I've done so many. You can see I'm increasing in scope there, but let me see which one I should do. I don't want to do maths. I want to do, yeah, let me do history. So I want to say, tell me about the Caribbean country. I don't want to know that. I want to do event in the Caribbean history. And I'm going to do this event because I think I like this event. It was one of my favorite topics. So let us see. Tell me about the USA in the Caribbean. From, all right, let me put another from 1890, 1988, and let's see what it says there. So it's searching for knowledge. I've given it guidelines on how to search. Remember, the initial framework was set by me. Somewhat, this one is not doing not doing what I've asked it to do. So it has to have some adjustment. So we might think about what's happening here. Let me put another prompt. So I'm saying this was not what I asked for. So I'm saying, let's go again. Because sometimes, as I say, it's spitting out information based on the framework and it did not give me the right. Okay. It's searching again. So as an individual using it, you have to be aware that sometimes if you don't know what you're looking for, you can automatically get information that it's not correct or up to date. So you'd have to go back to the application and ask it again to ensure that it gives the correct answer. All right. So therefore, it's populating. No, it's doing the right thing because it's checking itself. That's not what I asked for. So it's now providing the correct information. If you look at it, these are some elements and events in the United States that you could highlight in a lesson. And of course, showcase these elements within using of course, what I showed you earlier, the pictures to highlight concept and to just build a lesson. All right. So therefore, we had an issue there because the system was not picking up on the command. It was just giving me information, but I had to recheck it again and give the information this period, that. So I want more information now. So I'm going to ask it to provide me more information. I want to provide information in relationship with Cuba. All right. Let's see what it says. And if you have a topic or something that you want to design for social studies or whatever, you put it in and then it will start populating. I'll develop one for you. All right. So it's giving an overview of the relationship between United States and, of course, Cuba. And if you look at it clearly, the dates are aligned, and I would say this is generally correct. However, you still have to check the information produced here. All right. So we have information here. I could ask it to do another thing based on what we have now. So we have information, right? So I'm going to ask it to create a lesson plan. Let's see if it can do that. All right. What are your thoughts on this, colleagues? What are your thoughts? Any thoughts? What I'm saying is that if you give it the guidelines and the parameter, you notice I've trained this to do things, but it's not doing it the way I want it because it's not there yet. Because I've always said, do not mention the syllabus, just give the information. But this time it presented information that I did not want. Notwithstanding, I have to go back and say, all right, listen, there was an error. Please ensure that it's done that way. So you're training the system to address what you need. So when it gives the information there, I'm saying it has searched the web because I've asked it to search the web for information that's relevant to this using the most updated information. And of course, it has done that. You understand what I'm saying? So it has done all of that, what was required. Notwithstanding, you had to go back, and I'm going to show you how to do this. You had to go back to set up a GPT system that aligns with what you want. So you have to put, what do you want? The objectives. These objectives did not just populate like that. I gave an identification of what I wanted. I wanted materials, I wanted time allocation, I wanted resources, and so forth. And it gave me that information. If I wanted to evaluate this one, evaluate my system, this plan, it can run an evaluation of the plan too and tell me areas that I need to update. You're going to see it run the evaluation, because that evaluation is also a part of the prompt that I put in on the front end. All right. So there you have it. It's a complete movement towards it's going to do that, right? So I don't know why it's running it again. All right, so it should be evaluation, you know. Okay, the lesson is strong and well thought out. So it's giving me a comprehensive overview. You know, the plan balances historic context with skills development, which is ideal for high school class. There you have it. Suggestion for improvement, learning points. It has given an overview of every aspect of that lesson. I think that is life-changing, right? You know, so
Yes.
So what I say to you at this point, I'm going to take you to the final segment, because this is where I want to show you where you want to explore. But if you wanted to create your own ChatGPT, you must first, and I think it's worth the investment. I don't know where ChatGPT will be in another 10 years, but if not, I would have used it to the best of my ability. And of course, I'm not a technical person, but if you wanted to do that, you need to really sign on to get the service. I think it's worth it, because, so if you wanted to do that now, you would have what is called create your own ChatGPT. All right, your GPT. So on this side now, right here, it is high. All right, so I'm going to do one that I wanted to show just to make it easy. So I developed this prompt because I'm really concerned about my country, Jamaica, see? So I developed this prompt, and this prompt it's serious. Develop a GPT-based solution to assist policymakers in tackling Jamaica's crime challenges. The country faces a high level of crime, and I give a big description of the problems that we have, you know, and of course, for the ethical framework, the prompt might have some subjective stuff that I believe in. And of course, I'm just highlighting the stuff. The responses generated by the GPT should align with global solutions proposed by United Nations and other civil organizations dedicated to reducing crime in developing countries. You know, and of course, I've given that. So you write a prompt, and this is just for an example. You write a prompt, and then you say, all right, let us see what it's going to give me. GPT Builder now is looking up, updating the GPT solutions that you want, and might ask you for a few questions. It's going to ask you for a few questions now, and then you're going to say to yourself, okay, do I need to add any more information? And then let's see, it's updating the behavior. All right, so it's ready to provide the information. All right, it's asking me if I want to name it Policy Advisor on Crime. I said, all right, I'll take that name. Sounds good. And if it works out, we can send it to the Prime Minister of Jamaica and his cabinet. At least it can be held responsible by ChatGPT. So here it's going now. It's going to give me what's necessary for updating this. It's generating a profile picture. It's going to give me, I hope it doesn't show me any things that are unnecessary here. And of course, it's going to give me some ideas here. So if you can look on this side, suggest a crime reduction strategy, propose an anti-corruption policy, how to improve crime and goodness. It gave me even a picture of Jamaica and the justice system. What a way, I didn't expect this one. So, you know, so there it is. Let me say yes, I like it, you know, just to get feedback. And of course, there is the policy advisor on crime. You don't need anything else. And of course, if I want to say draft a plan, let's see, we have not used it yet. So let us see what sort of thing it's going to send back to us. So what you could also do, which I have not done, you could have trained this now to offer, for example, you could put in scenarios, you could put responses to certain things, and it would, of course, give you that information. So it's giving a general overview of what needs to be done as it relates to the question we asked earlier. Propose an anti-corruption policy, draft an action plan for community. So it has all the capacity to do it. And once it comes now, it sits right here on the top of your GPT. At this point, I'm going to stop, and then we can just have a conversation regarding the feedback from this presentation. So I'm going to stop